We oftentimes see him at our Dallas Opens. That's the main one where we see her. Herrera number 31 on our Season 4 leaderboard right now. Barich unranked, but plenty of wins on these players' resumes. As Herrera will search up a Prairie stream to get his round number 7 started. Jeskai Ascendancy is a card that we have not seen like any of in a while.
It's true.
And it's very powerful. It's a mountain. It's a Jace. Pass the turn back. Barich will draw. A Flooded Strand is land number 3.
And there's been so much talk about, Lightning Strike isn't a card anymore, and this really stings. Herrera with a copy of Draconic Roar in his deck and no dragons.
Sometimes you just need the effect.
Yep.
Herrera's got an active Jace, so he's going to start by activating that. It's time for him to draw and discard. Picked up a copy of Seeker of the Way. Remember, these Jeskai token stacks previously, they used to really enjoy cards like Dragon Fodder, Raise the Alarm, Hordling Outburst, more of a token approach.
Yeah.
But they were very slow out the gate. That was a bit of an issue for them at times. Going to discard a Fiery Impulse. There's a Mountain. Seeker of the Way, pass the turn back. The Draconic Roar is actually just in hand right now for Herrera. Barich's going to sacrifice both his fetch lands. A mountain and an island here for Aaron. And he'll play a Jeskai Charm. Going to put Jace on top. Sunken Hollow, past the turn back. It feels like somebody might have an Ojtai's Command.
So this seems like a very good spot to try to land a copy of Jeskai Ascendancy if Herrera has it.
He'll start by sacrificing that Bloodstained Mire. See what land he wants to search up.
And Ascendancy seems so great in anything that's close to a mirror match, because a lot of stuff just trades, and there's no way to get enchantments off the table. And once that card's in play, it's only a matter of time.
Well, you wanted Ascendancy, you got it. That's going to trigger Prowess too. I know this is a card that we have not seen for a real long time, but it is real powerful if you get to untap with it. We have seen some of our best SCG Live moments involve that card. So, I don't know if we're going to be having another one here, but I can only hope.
And Barich is trying to play the control role here. Hasn't put a creature on the table yet. Tried to get an Ojtai's Command to stick last turn, we assume. You cannot play the control role against Ascendancy. That's done.
Monastery Mentor in hand over there for Herrera too. He's playing a really unique deck. It's hard to kind of guess the ways he wants to go about things, honestly.
His hand's a little awkward right now because I think Herrera can sense that Ojtai's Command is likely, and his hand's very creature heavy. So how does he want to order things in the face of this is tricky. He could just fire off a Wild Slash and loot and see if he finds something better to do.
For now, he's just going to attack for 2. And he might just say, you know what, if you're just going to keep doing nothing, then I can do this. There's a Smoldering Marsh. All right, he'll go with Jace. You got Ojtai's Command? Okay, of course you do. You're not doing anything. So counter that and likely draw a card. But that may have been the bait. Because Joe has Monastery Mentor to follow up with. And he might like that a whole lot more. But he's, okay, and I also kind of like this play too, of just passing and not playing the Mentor. The reason I kind of like that is because, you know, if he just plays it next turn and then casts a Wild Slash, at least he gets something from it.
But if that was going to be the line of play, I think that I would have preferred Herrera just to Wild Slash and likely loot away a creature. I think he's got a different path he could take against Ojutai's command if he wants it.
Okay.
I feel like you either try to jam 2 creatures that turn, or you try to say, for the time being, creatures are off the table. Let me focus on finding some more spells.
Roast, he'll take care of Seeker of the Way. And Barich has that very familiar 4 mana available. Perhaps he has another copy of Ojutai's command. It's a Monastery Mentor. Well, if he's got Ojutai's command, I think he would counter this. Oh, Barich is going to sacrifice the Bloodstained Mire. I believe an Utter End here to take care of the Jeskai Ascendancy. We got a Wild Slash that's going to go upstairs. This will trigger the Ascendancy. Dragon Fodder the draw. There goes the Shivan Reef. Wild Slash resolves. Utter End resolves. Bye-bye Jeskai Ascendancy. Now the Monastery Mentor is on the battlefield. We head back Barich's way. I believe a Fiery Impulse may have been the draw, so pretty clean answer there to the manner.
Herrera is really prioritizing keeping this Draconic Roar, because last turn he could have played Land and Dragon Fodder with the Mentor in play after the whole sequence with the Utter End on Jeskai Ascendancy. So he's really valuing keeping his removal spells.
Might be a good reason why. And Jace does now hit the battlefield.
It's also possible Herrera's logic here is, with 4 copies of Treasure Cruise in my deck, I'm a pretty heavy favorite if we go on for a long time.
Draconic Roar and now Dragon Fodder. 2 goblins on the way here for Herrera, and then he'll pass the turn back. Joe definitely has some big cards to draw too.
Yep. He's got 4 copies of Jeskai Ascendancy, 4 copies of Treasure Cruise, and to Secure the Waste, all of which are huge swings if they show up.
Speaking of huge swings, dig through time right now for Aaron Barich. That was his last card. So he'll get to take a look at the top 7 cards and take 2 with him. Mantis Rider in there, Crackling Doom as well. A lot of options here for Barich.
And the creatures seem good to me right now.
Creatures are a pretty good spot to be in.
Mantis Rider and Jace, I think, were the 2 cards that stood out to me.
He'll attack here for 3. Herrera's going to fall down to 18. It looks as though Jace is the follow-up. Herrera will draw a copy of Jeskai Charm. Somewhat interesting. Joe's got a pretty healthy amount of life to work with, but there's a Jace that's threatening right now.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know if you can allow Barich to untap with his Jace, given what his graveyard looks like. If Barich was lower and you could draw another burn spell and put together lethal, that'd be one thing, but this might just have to be put your Jace on top.
Yeah, you can tell he's not in love with it.
Yeah.
But I think he's got to do it, yep.
It just feels bad because it almost feels like there's different stuff you could be doing, but with the quality of Barich's graveyard, I don't think that's the case.
There's Jace again. So just a repeat of the previous turn. And a Soulfire Grandmaster too. Over to Herrera. Battlefield Forge is not what the doctor ordered. Pass the turn back over to Barich. I'll have a great look at what Aaron drew, but he's going to start by activating Jace. So discard a Bloodstained Mire. Jace will flip. Start with 5 counters, of course. As you mentioned, this is where it gets really tough for Herrera because Aaron has such a good graveyard right now.
Got a lot to work with down there.
Down at 2. Time for a little diggeroo. Aaron just deciding how much mana he wants to pay for it. Gonna delve away a couple of cards here. Wants to leave his graveyard pretty well intact if he can. There are some good cards down there like Roast and Utter End to recast. So Barich will take a look at the top 7 again. Take 2 with him. We can't forget as well, as he's working here with Dig Through Time and Jace, that he's also got a Soulfire Grandmaster out here. So he's got some interest in finding spells that he can rebuy with that as well.
Yeah, this is, the setup turn, and then after that it becomes lock Herrera out of the game with Soulfire Grandmaster.
A second Mantis Rider making life real tough here for Joe. I'm not sure if he's got a way out of this situation now. Might take a little look through the graveyard here, but he is in a tough spot. Maybe it's time for him to go for a cruise. Cruise is one of those cards that could help him get back into this.
Yeah, no, but time is becoming an issue here. I mean, he's getting beat on a couple fronts. He's in trouble in the short term because of Mantis Riders, and he's in trouble long term because of Soulfire Grandmaster and Jace. Hard to cover against both.
And it wasn't a great treasure cruise either. A lot of lands in hand for Herrera. He'll sacrifice Fall to Strand, fall down to 8. I believe Noyan Dar, Royal Shaper, is going to be cast here in just a moment. So there's the Merfolk Ally. Whenever you cast an instant or a sorcery spell, you may put 3+1/+1 counters on the land you control. If you do, that land becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with haste. That's still a land, and that creature still dies to Crackling Doom. So Aaron Barich is going to win game number 1 here over Joseph Herrera. Jeskai Black up a game over Jeskai Black tokens. And we'll get to the sideboards here in just a moment. But again, it is notable that Noyan Dar in this deck can let you do some pretty broken things.
Yeah, especially, you can get to spots where if that survives, you untap, play Ascendancy, and that could just be lethal from there. You have a couple cheap spells to work with, your lands are untapping, they're growing. I'm sure there's some really explosive combinations that card allows.
To the sideboards we'll go. We'll start with Joe Herrera and his Jeskai Black tokens deck.
2 Valorous Stance, 2 Narset Transcendent, 2 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Duress, 3 Radiant Flames, 2 Soulfire Grandmaster, a Dispel, and a Dragonlord Ojutai. I really like Dragonlord Ojutai, Dispel, Duress, and Radiant Flames in this matchup. I think you can also make arguments for Disdainful Stroke, Soulfire Grandmaster, and Narset. Just depends how controlling Joseph wants to be, but I do think that it favors him to be more defensive in the matchup than Barich because of Jeskai Ascendancy.
Other side of things here for Barich, he's got 4 copies of Disdainful Stroke, a Negate, an Exert Influence, an Utter End, a Surge of Righteousness, 2 Arashan Clerics, and then Hostilities. Haven't seen that card for a while, along with the Planet Burst and 3 copies of Radiant Flames.
I don't know if Barich wants to go into the same control route here, but if he wants to do that, he has his Sweepers and Radiant Flames, Splinter Outbursts, and End Hostilities. I really like the Utter End in this matchup. I really like his copy of Negate, and I think Exert Influence is fine here as well.
Exert Influence been a heavily played sideboard card. I'm curious if that card's ever going to make its way into main decks.
Things might just be it's too bad against the extreme ends of the format. It's really bad against Tarka Red, and it's also poor against decks like Esper Dragons and some other 5-color control decks. But against creature decks in the middle, the card is really good.
Well, as these players shuffle up here for game number 2, we will talk about the Star City Games newsletter. It's your source for Magic Gathering news, and it's very easy to sign up for.
Yeah, the best going-ons over at Star City Games with a summary of last week's Open Series event with a selected match of the week. exclusive deck lists and advice from many of our premium columnists and exclusive cardboard crack comic. Best of all, sign up is free over at rcgames.com/newsletter.
We've currently got Chris Vanameter providing the exclusive content. So if you're a fan of dragons, and really who isn't, you're definitely going to check that out. StarCityGames.com/newsletter. Again, for more information. It's game number 2 here between Joseph Herrera and Aaron Barich underway. A lot of big names off to some great starts here this weekend.
Yep, and I like what we're seeing here. People are still experimenting, and I don't think that we've really even scratched the surface of what the format's going to look like ultimately, but you see a little bit more cohesion out of the decks people are playing than we saw last week in Indianapolis.
And I think, you know, with time, that's just a thing that happens.
Yeah, no, week 1, especially with 5-color formats where anything's possible, a lot of people are doing just their best guess, but things feel a bit better defined here this week.
You figure out those play patterns, you figure out what cards were good and what cards were bad, or what cards you missed out on. That just takes time. You're not going to get everything right week 1.
Of course.
So we get ready here for game number 2. Herrera with his innovative Jeskai Black Tokens deck. Jeskai Ascendancy, a card that really hit things in a big way once it was released. People were talking about needing to ban that card.
That had to do a lot with larger formats.
Agreed. I mean, when it was good and constructed, though, I mean, it certainly had its moments. I think about Dylan Donegan winning the Season 4 Invitational with Jeskai Tokens, Ivan Jen with his win at SCG Oakland and the broken things he was doing. It definitely needs some help to get going, though. Yeah. It's not broken on its own, but it can be quite powerful at times. My lord, is that a Triland?
How many of those?
Is that a Mystic Monastery?
4. He didn't get the memo, I guess.
It's been a little while since I've seen one of those. Herrera starting with the Smoldering March. He's going to fetch up an island, but Aaron Barich, Mystic Monastery.
It's funny that we've gone to a place where this is just a huge surprise when we see a land that makes 3 colors of mana out of a 4 mana deck.
Yeah.
And our reaction is, dude, don't you know you don't need to do that anymore?
Soulfire Grandmaster here for Aaron. Jake's going to go active. Herrera will draw a copy of Crackling Doom.
Can you just not afford Bloodstained Mire? What's the...
Yeah, what's going on, man? Discard a copy of Radiant Flames. Wild Slash will take care of the Soulfire Grandmaster. Bloodstained Mire was the land. Now we head back Aaron's way.
Although the mana here is not perfect for Herrera, as he cannot get white mana with Bloodstained Mire.
Fire Impulse. See you later, Jace. Plains. Barich will pass. Herrera, no fetch at the end of turn. You mentioned the mana is a little choppy right now for Joe. He's got a lot of white cards in his hand.
Someone could use a Mystic Monastery.
Here's a Mantis Rider. That'll work. It's coming in for 3. You can play a lot of colors. Doesn't mean you always draw the right ones. Dragon Fodder.
Nice. At least it's castable.
Step in the right direction.
Probably going to hold off on that because Herrera needs to draw white mana anyway for Radiant Flames. At that point, he's just killing all of his tokens.
We might see him crack that Bloodstained Mire for just a basic mountain, assuming he has one in his deck.
And then to what end?
Black, blue, red.
Oh, yeah, he could Radiant Flames away.
Yep. 3, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's not great.
It's better than dying.
Yeah, it's better than getting punched in the face.
Appears to be the alternative line.
Yeah, Mantis Rider just hitting you in the face over and over again. Also, that's a second basic for Battlelands. So I think this is reasonable. Over to Barich. Yikes. Another Mantis Riders. Come on, White Source.
About a white card.
Yep. Not the first time we've seen this happen today. Two goblins in the meantime. There we are. Mantis Rider going to come in again. Herrera down to 9. Barich with the Smoldering March. He'll pass the turn back. Herrera will draw. Jeskai Ascendancy. I think they're all white cards in his hand now. He'll pass the turn back. I would have gotten in there with those goblins.
Just, it's basically a free attack. I don't think Barich would block.
Definitely not. You can sneak a little 2 in.
People lose their desire to bluff when they're losing by a lot. For me, it's the opposite. Because
Turn it up.
well, the thing is, the game is a sunk cost. That's you already lost, right? We accept that. So you got to try to make your own. It needs to be a game within the game.
Oh, you want a mini game?
Yeah, it's like, all right, if I lose, but I get him to 16 with some free attacks, that's not bad. I feel like I came away with something.
It's a boss fight within a boss fight.
Exactly.
Beautiful. And here comes Mantis Rider again. Now it's a Jace. Pass the turn back. Herrera.
Attack him.
Attack him. Patrick wants an attack. Treasure Cruise was the draw. I think he's got 7 cards in his graveyard, actually.
Okay. Then I guess we can hold off on the attack.
No, sir. Whatever this is, counter it. Disdainful Stroke will take care of that. All right, now you got to attack. Goblin's hanging back.
Yeah, this is a disappointing display from Herrera.
Jace is going to flip here in just a moment.
You can't take him with you, you know? They die when you die.
That's
So
true.
You might as well. You could have at least gotten in 1 to point. Now you can't attack at all. There's not
No,
even
you
a
can attack with the 1. You can attack with the 1. Jeskai charms the draw. Just don't go out without an attack, Joe. Don't go out without an attack. Get that point. That's going to do it. Aaron Barich going to win this match here over Joseph Herrera. 2-0. Jeskai Black will take care of Jeskai Black tokens. For Barich, he moves on to 6-1.